Hey, it's been almost a week since Ozzy passed away, and I keep finding these cool articles about Ozzy in old newspapers. And so I just thought, maybe we'll do one or two more of these things. But the one I found today is really, it's very short. So this is going to be a really short video. But it's an interview with Ozzy, very short one this was published on November 20th of 1973. This was published right around the time that Sabbath Bloody Sabbath was released. And so anyway, I think you're going to find this really interesting. This is from the Daily Mirror, November 20th, 1973, published in London, England. And interesting, first thing right there is there's a picture of Ozzy over on the side. And it says rock star Ozzy Osbourne and his 22-month-old daughter, Jessica. Life isn't all black. And she's one of his kids that has really, really stayed out of the limelight. There's not a lot of information out there about her. And the headline of this article says Prophets of Doom. And then it says Ozzy's despair pays off. I actually really loved listening to this. I think you're going to like this. So, every time rock star Ozzy Osbourne reaches the depths of despair, he makes himself a little richer. Every time he hammers the hopelessness of it all into the black grooves of an LP, a bright golden replica is laid at his feet by a record company grateful for another $1 million worth of sales. Every time his band, Black Sabbath, tried to obliterate an audience with leaden waves of doom, the public happily queue for more, as they have been doing for 5 years since the band's first album, Black Sabbath, blasted its way into the charts. Now, it's close to 5 years. The Black Sabbath's first album actually came out in 1970, and so we're getting close to January of 1974, so they're not exactly right there, but, it's actually almost 4 years since the first one came out. Why this happens, Ozzy doesn't know. But despite the success and true to form, he's still complaining about the 10 long world tours that have wrecked the four-man band's health, about the plastic shortage that has held up his latest ear-splitting message of death and destruction, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Now, this is an interesting thing because in 1973, actually in October 1973, there was an oil embargo. That's what they're talking about right here. And the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, the OAPEC is what it was called, had an embargo for anyone that had been involved in the Yom Kippur War. And so they started this embargo in October of 73, and so it had some impact on plastics because of that. And that's what they're referring to right here, the plastic shortage that has held up his latest ear-splitting message. About everything from his numerous tattoos to his nagging tax man. Anyway, again, these are the three things that he's supposedly complaining about. Ozzy was born in the Black Country near Birmingham and intends dying there. Now, just by the way, he actually passed away just outside of London, which was about 100 miles away from where he was born, just FYI. The son of a toolmaker, he joined his mother on a factory assembly line when he was 15. 5 brothers and sisters had to be fed. Quote, I went from factory to factory. I couldn't stand the machines and the noise and the dreariness and the pointlessness, Ozzy told me. I'll never forget what it was like all my life. It marks you. Certainly, it seems to have marked Black Sabbath's music, which sounds as though it has been welded together in some giant horror factory. I love that line. I've never heard it put that way. Black Sabbath music sounds like it's been welded together in some giant horror factory. Anyway, it's really, really cool. No preaching of peace, no glimmer of hope for the thousands of Black Sabbath fans. But Ozzy hasn't done too badly. Quote, eventually I broke my machine and got out of the factory, he said. He married a girl called Thelma 3 years ago, and they have a 22-month-old daughter, Jessica. And so anyway, the picture that I just showed you a second ago is Jessica. And so from that first marriage to Thelma, he actually had 3 kids. This is the second oldest right here, Jessica. Quote, okay, so now I'm married and I've got money, but I'm still the same bloke. People try to treat you differently if they know you've got money. I hate that, said Ozzy, still trying to look on the darker side. Quote, maybe I'll land up like a battery hen back at the factory bench. And that's pretty interesting. I mean, because here they are. They're putting out their 5th album, their worldwide success, and he's just looking at that like, well, maybe I'll end up back in the factories either way. And what a battery hen is it's literally just a hen that lays eggs, and they have these very small little cages that they keep them in, and that's called the battery, or the battery hens are kept in these little cages that are organized and then lay eggs. Now this is awesome right here. So he says, maybe I'll land up like a battery hen back at the factory bench, but at least I can say I had an ambition and I achieved it, he added defiantly. Isn't that fascinating that he's looking at that going that even if he ends up back in the factories, at least he can say he accomplished something. It was just so cool to hear that. Jessica delightedly threw a packet of crisps all over the new carpet. Dad smiled despite himself. Life can't be all black. And that's the end of the article. And it's pretty cool just hearing this stuff. And again, to also put this in context, Ozzy was about 25 years old here. So even though he's on his 5th album, I mean, just think about that. This is a really young dude, and they've taken over the world at this point. They're on their 5th album. He's married and he's got kids, and anyway, it's just such a fascinating time in his life. And I thought that was kind of just a cool little thing, hearing a few of those quotes of what his life was like and what he was thinking about back at that time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for taking the time to visit with me today. If you're not following the channel already, please follow the channel, like the video, and leave your comments about any of this stuff, what you think about these things. What did you think about the albums that were coming out around that time? Because when you think about this daughter, Jessica, she was born while they would have been touring or during that period of Masters of Reality. And so it's just kind of interesting to think of what was going on in his life, including children at that period. So what did you think about that period? Did you ever see them in concert during that time? What did you think about that album? And anyway, love to get your feedback on all these things. And with that, have yourself a fantastic day.